black rubber band or one of these little rubber bands up here are gonna break, all right? Line's gonna go screaming, we're all gonna start freaking out, it's all right? It's gonna be pretty chaotic, okay? So when all that happens, you're gonna go ahead, run, and jump straight into the chair. Now when you jump into the chair, there's these 2 clips, okay? There's one on each side. You're just gonna jump in the chair, you're gonna grab your clips, and you're gonna hold them. Don't clip them together, don't tie them in a knot, don't tie them in a bow. Don't do anything fancy. I like to make sure that the open part is facing the outside. Just makes life a lot easier, all right? So, go ahead, jump in the chair. I'm gonna pick the rod up, bring the rod over, okay? The rod's gonna go right here. Now, when I bring the rod over, you're gonna have to scoot forward. You're gonna have to scoot to me and go ahead and clip onto your clip. Basically, when you scoot forward, okay, and the fish is running, taking line, you want to stay in this position.
All right.
Keep the rod tip down, let the fish run, let him do his thing.
Perfect.
Okay? Now, as soon as that fish stops taking line, okay, he's going to get real tired eventually. He's going to kind of start to circle around and come at you. Now, when he does that, and this line stops moving, you can scoot back in the chair and you can go to town. If you're reeling, okay, the fish takes line again, scoot back forward, get that rod tip nice and low, let him take line.
All right.
I like your legs to be just about pretty much like that, nice and spread out, as far down on the chair as you can get them, because it's only going to help you. When the fish is taking line, we like your legs to be bent. Keep that rod tip down. Okay? But now when the fish stops taking line, we like you to straighten them out, scoot back in the chair, and then you can go to town.
Butt off the chair? How do you like
Nope, butt on the chair for now. Let's say we hook a pretty nice fish, or the fish that we're fighting goes down and kind of fights straight under us. Now the boat can't chase around, can't help us in any way, so it's going to be all on you. What you're going to do is you're going to have to straighten your legs, okay? You're going to lock your knees. When you lock your knees, you're going to lift your butt off of the chair, okay? So this is like a giant seesaw, all right?
There we go. All right.
So when one end comes up, the other end goes down. As you're standing up and that rod tip is going down, it's like any fish you've ever caught. Right? You pick up the rod and you're reeling it down, just like this. Now, as soon as you stand up, okay, you're gonna start reeling. Now, you wanna keep your back nice and straight, all right? I was always told growing up to lift with your legs and not your back, okay? So you wanna make sure that you're not using your back to lift. Keep that back nice and straight, shoulders broad. As soon as you start to stand, start reeling, okay? When you get as far forward as you're comfortable with, okay, you're gonna sit down nice and slow, and you're gonna raise that rod nice and slow. Your right hand always goes on the handle, okay? Now your left hand should never be up here, all right? We want your left hand right there, just on top of that reel. On the left side of the reel, because you like to keep pressure, and it's easier to guide the line from on the reel.
Perfect, but also it keeps the rod from wiggling sometimes.
Keeps the rod from wiggling. So if your hand wasn't there, and you were reeling, all right, what's gonna happen is the rod is gonna sit there and do that, right? It's gonna whip back and forth. Now with your hand on the reel, you can push on the reel very slightly, not too much, little bit of pressure. Okay, push on that reel, and then when you turn, keeps the rod tight, keeps it straight, and you'll be able to turn that handle in a circle. Now your thumb, okay, your thumb also has to guide that line back and forth. You gotta keep it nice and flat. If we get you in the chair, I clear all the lines, I come over and I look and I see Mount Everest in the middle of the spool.
Bad news.
Well, that's not very good. All right, you gotta make sure it's nice and level, nice and flat. No matter how big and strong you are, your arm is gonna get tired, all right? Everybody's arms get tired after going in little tiny circles. So no matter what, you cannot reach over and use 2 hands. I always say if you need help, just ask for it. Somebody will give you a hand. Sometimes with these reels that we use called duals, sometimes it's kind of hard to reel forward, right? It's a little bit of a grind, it's kind of a pain. So when it gets like that and you're gaining line and the fish isn't taking it, but it's just hard to get, then you can also reel backwards. Okay? Now when you reel backwards, that's a lower gear.
Oh, I see, right.
Okay? So if you're reeling backwards, you've got to go faster. Okay? Now, if it gets too fast and you can't keep up, or you feel like you can go forward, go forward.
Sounds good, man. Appreciate it.